And we're live. Hey, everybody, good morning, and welcome back to another live Jedi Academy. Hold on a second. Something's going on here. I hate this new YouTube. Wait a second. Quit dicking around stuff. Okay. But welcome to another Jedi Academy. I'm your host, Ranger J, 1999. Part of the RC crew, and welcome to Jedi Academy, where we hang out with you wonderful folks, and this is a Q&A show all about Star Wars Galaxy heroes, and we brought the best and brightest stuff, people, minds, matter, junk, to answer all your questions. In the way it works, if you have a question for our awesome panel, which we will introduce here in a second, all you need to do is put those questions into chat. Make sure you put question in front of your statement, and then that way, Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman, the Troll Extraordinaire. I'm gonna start calling him Mr. Beardy because that beard's coming in very nicely.
It's getting trimmed later today, so yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's looking good. It's got the right, it's not too long, but it's not too short. It's if you just keep it trim and nice. I mean,
I hate it. No, I'm trimming it down like short again.
Well, then why do you grow it out if you hate it?
Because I hate shaving.
Just shave every 3 days, man.
Shave every 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I do. I shave every couple days. I don't shave every day. It's actually not that good for you to shave every day, for your skin. So, yeah. So go ahead and get your questions in. Good morning, skewers. Whip out your pickles, all that wonderful stuff. We have a wonderful panel. I'm sure other people will join, but let's introduce the awesome panel we got so far. We've of course got a returning champion from the Rocky Mountains somewhere, hunting cougars and killing bears. We got Warrior from Warrior Presents is here.
What is going on, you guys? How's it going?
How's it going, man? How's everything in your world?
Oh, just other than, having to slide down banisters to wipe my butt, we're doing good.
Yeah, that's called the bat pole. All right. Also joining us, we've got representing the Ma MC Coalition. What am I saying? We're all the same guild. It's not even a coalition. Alliance. We've got Mr. Well, I guess he's calling himself Mandy Moore.
Who dis?
Who? That should be my question. Mandy Moore, really?
I don't know. I felt like going with something different.
It's the Mandalore. What's going on, Mandalore?
Trying to survive around here, man.
I know. You're in New York, right?
That's correct.
That's right. You should be using disinfectant every 10 seconds.
I've taken to wearing just full body condoms, walking around. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know your wife. She's a nurse, right, or something.
Yep.
She's in the medical field, right?
Yeah. She actually had a couple of rule out coronavirus patients on her floor. One of whom actually did, in fact, have coronavirus.
Okay, that's not good.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, if you don't have any underlying health issues, you should be able to make it through. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just be very careful out there. We've been telling people, make sure you wash your hands. If you don't need to go out, don't go out. Just be safe. There's just follow the CDC steps and things of that nature, and you should be. We'll get through this. We always have things happen in this country, and we always get through it. It's just the way it is. So, but I'm hoping everybody's having a great morning. And go ahead and get your questions in. Now, we will have a time limit on getting questions and stuff like that. So, if you want to get your question, now is the time. Now, as a programming note, we will be going right into GAC after this. So, I will do my GAC very quickly because I have to go cut down some more trees and dig some more ditches and trenches and stuff and move stuff. I'm going to be really sore. So, what we like to start off is with the panel and just kind of talk about what's going on with them in the game. We'll start with you, Mando. What's going through your mind when you think about the game this past week?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm just waiting for the Galactic Legendaries to see how difficult they're going to be. Other than that, it's just kind of status quo.
Yeah, now you have to take this with a grain of salt. They did say that these were not going to be as difficult as some of the other stuff that we've had recently, like with gas and things of that nature. So I think once you qualify, yeah, I mean, as I said, big grain of salt because, you know, in our minds, we have an idea of what's difficult, and in their minds, it's probably something else because I just, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, they think light side TB, GOTB is an appropriate level of difficulty. So
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, I mean, we're getting ready to run another one here very soon, and I'm not looking forward to that. So nothing like getting your ass kicked to enjoy life. That's what I say. Anything else? Just getting ready for the GLs. Now, are you going to be getting both characters or just one?
I mean, hopefully both. I have all the requirements for both ready to go.
God dang.
The only tough pill to swallow really was Rose. That was brutal.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start relicking all those characters, and I'm looking at Rose like when I took her to 12, I felt dirty. So yeah. All right, Warrior. What about you? What's going through your melon when you think about this game this past week? Anything stick out to you or anything like that?
What was weird to me, and I guess it's a bone they threw the community, but just community's probably gonna like freak out on me, but why 5-star requirements for the ships? That's stupid.
Yeah, why haven't they at all?
I know, but they said this is like a long-term, going to be here forever, sitting in there. This is why the relics are so high. Everything is so forever. It's going to take you months, if not years. You know, take your time. You know, it's no big deal. You can come here whenever you want. You know, even if it takes you whatever. And then boom. Oh, by the way, you only need to get this ship to 5-star. What? Huh? I from the outside looking in, it's like, the fuck? You know, like it didn't make any sense to me, like why they would require things to be so astronomically stupid on overpowered and so overdeveloped and so like Rose Tico and then a 5-star ship. It just didn't make any sense. Because everything else, because think about it. If you're a baby whale doodle doo, you know what I mean, like, or like a free to play or anything like that, you're not gonna get these characters. Like, you're not even gonna be close. Like all these other characters, like, you know, Trooper and all, Roast Tico, you're nowhere near where you need to be. And if you're a whale Kraken, you're gonna have it all. So it doesn't really matter. So if they're gonna get the whales and Krakens, you might as well make it 7 stars and make sure that you get the extra money from them. And if they're the dolphin, whatever, they're not gonna get it anyway. So why, if this is like a long-term investment thing, like why not just make it 7 stars? Like, that was the most weird, arbitrary thing I've ever seen. I don't understand, but they do so many things now that make no sense. Like not bringing out ships to build out the teams for these capital ships. They're like, you got about 4 ships that make sense for each one of these capital ships, and then we're going to just suggest that you use these trash ships to kind of, you know, finish the round out the rest of your capital ship lineup. It just doesn't make sense. So I just see a lot of kind of laziness in that. But that was the only thing that I saw in the finalization of the prerequisites, and I saw the prerequisites, and I was just like, huh? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, you know, if this is something that's supposed to be like for a forever or a final or whatever, like they even said, hey, we said everything wasn't going to require relics, and then later they came back and said everything's going to require relics, and I was like, oh man, they're definitely going to hammer the community. And then they come back and said, oh, 5-star versus 7-star. What does it matter? They're farmable ships. Like, just farm at the extra 2 stars. Like, why would, I mean, it just doesn't, I don't know.
It's like Chewbacca. Chewbacca's from the planet Kashyyyk, but he flies the Millennium Falcon. That does not make sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So they do weird things, and like people will say, oh, well, they were throwing us a bone. It's like, not really. Like, it doesn't change anything, honestly. doesn't change anything for anyone. If you're a whale, you would have spent the extra little bit of money, and that really is not much money at all in comparison. And if you were, baby dolphin or free to play, it was not going to change anything. It's not going to make anything any faster. You wouldn't have spent the extra money. So weird.
Anything you on your mind, Dr. Finn? We've covered a lot of stuff this week and stuff, but anything still kind of nagging at you or anything like that?
It's March 14th, so it's Pie Day. So I'm trying to decide what pie to get later.
I know, right? Like, what should you eat? Like, do you have it narrowed down to anything specifically?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a cherry pie.
Okay. Is that your favorite pie? I didn't know cherry pie was your favorite. You don't want to get like a chocolate silk pie or a lemon meringue pie or one of those. No, nothing. Oreo cookie cream pie. No Twinkie pie.
Cherry pie.
Cherry pie it is. All right, so I forgot it was National Pie Day. I was still getting the fact that we made it through Friday the 13th. I was like, yay.
I know, the best thing. Friday the 13th, followed by Pie Day.
I'm still trying to figure out how come Poe is still not in a node. That's just freaking me out. Like, I mean, I'm using crystals to get his shards out of the store and stuff. I'm like, what? Why isn't he in a node? What is going on with that? So I don't know. I just picked up another 16 shards. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm gonna get down to the wire and not be able to farm Poe and just be sitting there like, okay, that sucks. All right, so the questions are coming in. Go ahead and get your questions in. Make sure you put question in front of your statement. If not, then Finn's not going to scoop it up, and then that's on you, not us. Before we get someone's, I just want to show this real quick. So let me spotlight my video here. Typically, I just let the guests and stuff do stuff. I got an Amazon package. I already opened it up, and I haven't seen what it is. I had 2 figures, and it says, this is a set, do not separate. So I was like, right. So someone got me, I'm pretty sure I know what this is, but I'm going to open these up here. And just do this. And I will show which ones someone got me. It didn't say, the name didn't say in the Amazon, just the
I will be right back.
We got Leia and Maz Kanata. So I finally got for my Black Series collection. We've got Maz Kanata, and we've got General Leia Organa. I'm very excited. They will go into the Black Series figures. Thank you guys who's ever got me off the Amazon wish list. They will have a place of honor in my collection. So thank you very much. So whoever that was, thank you. Someone's saying it's buffering. Let me look. I don't know. Not seeing anything. Alright, let me take this off me, and then we're going to start getting the questions in. So go ahead and get your questions in, folks. And we will start scooping those up. Alright. Finn's scooping up the questions, so damn. Stream buffering bad? Really? I don't see anything. Hold on, folks. I'm looking. Well, I don't see anything.
Every day I'm buffering.
Oh no.
Jesus.
Thank you, XO.
Party buffing in the house tonight. We are trying to have a good time, but YouTube makes us lose our minds.
Pretty much.
We just want to stop it buffering.
All right, thank you, XO, for the we're buffering. All right, well, let me see if I can pull up the questions real quick. I don't know what happened to Finn. He's supposed to be doing the questions, but
1 second, I'm right here. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to be fine. Looks fine. I don't see any buffering.
It
Maybe it's
always
YouTube.
looks and seems fine. That is the beautiful thing about live streaming, right?
Yeah, I know, right? You look at it and you're like, I don't see why there's this.
Everything on your side looks perfect, and people are like, it's not.
Well, the thing is, YouTube went to their new studio, And
Right.
ever since then, man,
I'm back.
she's all over the place, man. Like, people say it's buffering, and I'm looking like it's not our end. Definitely not our end. I mean, I keep looking like for anything, and we had a couple times in the lunch stream. It's like it's buffering. I'm like, how? I don't know. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. This is Chewbacca. It does not make sense. All right, Finn, we got some questions. We ready to rock and roll? Are you in a you're in
Yeah.
a position?
Sorry about that. I had someone come to the door, so.
Did you
I just
punch him in the
stepped
face?
No, because he was bringing me things.
Oh, was it your pie?
No, pie is later.
Oh, okay.
It was an Amazon package.
Did you get an Amazon wishlist package too?
Mhm.
Oh, you should go open it up or live.
I already know what it is because it's not like not a secret.
We'll just show
Someone
it.
got me the. Well, I have to open it because I left it over there because I didn't want to spend time. But it was the green screen.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, you saw that I got Maz and General Leia.
Mhm.
Yep. So, I will put that on the Black Series. Yeah, mine's better.
Mine sits right next to me. Sorry, it's completely off topic. Okay, let's get to questions.
Yeah.
um.
I didn't know Maz came with the Anakin lightsaber too with that, so that's pretty cool. All right.
Yep, mine's in the little box.
Okay.
All right, Warrior, you ready for your question?
Let's do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so your question from What Else 73. With Scav Rey being relic, does that make her Zeta more of a big deal or just the same as before? And he RSG'd it by saying more of a Grande level versus a Finn level.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's a question of functionality versus whether you should or not. It's functionality. It's a daze on her abilities. So daze is has always been and will probably continue to be one of the best debuffs in the game because it just eliminates the counter. So definitely it always has been a really solid debuff, and it continues to maintain to be a really solid debuff. Provided she's not debuffed, she's going to continue to just lay that down. So I personally did that Zeta a long time ago. I like that Zeta. I feel like it's a great Zeta, and I feel like you're going to see a lot of traction with that Zeta in the future with her underneath a potential I don't know what the new Rey is going to look like. I mean, nobody fully does, but I think that she's going to look great under a new I think even just under the old Rey, she's going to be phenomenal.
She is
with that Zeta, but especially with R7 is insane. Triple molly whopping for 150K is no joke. But I think under the new Rey is going to be pretty awesome as well. So you can't go wrong with someone that hits like that underneath with those kinds of tags, and who knows what kind of modifiers you're going to get with this new character. So time will tell, but Daze has been, and I have a video. It's a timeless video on Daze. It's one of those videos that I guess a lot of people don't know about, but you go to my channel and you look up, Warrior Presents Daze, DAZ, look it up. You'll watch it, and it actually goes over some of the most popular characters with Daze and stuff, and why, the difference between single target and AoE, and which ones are most popular and why. I talk about it, and it's a super important video on Daze. And so, if you're watching this and you want to know a little bit more about it, you should watch it.
Yeah, I just have a relic, and Stick Rey, man, she hits so freaking hard. She one shots things all over the place. She's pretty nasty. So, yes, Warrior's point is not only can she triple mollywop a fool, as the great Urban Blaster would say, but yes, Daze is amazing. All right, what's the next question, Finn?
Okay. Next question
for Mandy Moore.
What are we calling? Are we calling you Mandy Moore?
Well, just call. He put it up there. It's not Mandalorian.
Yeah,
it's the artist known
way.
as Mandalore. It's Mandy Moore, and
you can call me Susan if it makes you happy.
All right, Susan. Question to you from Drucifer912.
Oh.
And the question is, do you think the Zetas are necessary on all Galactic Legend required characters, like FOTP, for example?
Right now, seeing as G13 and relicking everybody is so expensive, enough already. I'm holding off on any zetas that I haven't already applied. So I'm sitting on 10, maybe 11 zetas, and I'm waiting to see how difficult. Yeah, I'm waiting to see how difficult the event is. If I need to add a zeta here or there or whatever, then I will. But I'd rather lowball it and then adjust to the upside, than just blanket drop zetas. Because I mean, let's be real, the Galactic Legendaries are going to have probably no fewer than 4 zetas apiece, the actual characters. So I'd like to stockpile and be able to adjust accordingly.
Yeah, I'm hoarding. I'm going on 11 zetas. Because I have a feeling that these new Galactic Legends are going to take like gas 4 zetas, maybe more. Maybe we see 6 zetas for the first time ever. I don't know, but I know they're going to require a lot of zetas. But yeah, I'm in horde mode too, because it's like you can't have no zetas on this event coming up. Alright, next question. Wait a minute, we have someone else just pop in. Who is that? Oh,
Nave.
Hello, Governor. It's Nave. Is he there? I guess he just wanted... Possibly. Bueller. Nev.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Oh, it's Nev. Yay.
Sorry about that. We've got guests, and why my video not? Oh, there it is. Sorry, we have guests, and obviously the guest room is downstairs.
Don't blame the guest.
Like the bathroom's on the other side of that wall that I just put up the other day.
Oh,
and then on the other side of that wall is the guest room, and I thought our guests were still in bed. So yes.
Well,
just, it's all better. It's all better. Don't worry about it.
It's all better.
Still better.
Oh God! Well, let's throw Nev in here right to the fire, into the frying pan. Let's give him a question there, Dr. Finney.
Okay, so I know Nev likes his GAC, so let's go. Let's give you a GAC question here, Nev. From Jedi Gunny 1216, I have been losing by 1 point in GAC. It happened 3 out of the last 5 GACs.
Oh, no.
What do I need to change up? I'm doing some short squad matches already.
Well, you do one of two things. You can shore up your defenses so that you're being stripped of less protection and taking more banners away there, or you can, increase your odds in offense by maybe going undersized. If you're doing a 4-man undersized or a 2-man undersized. If you're going in offense and it's overkill and you're winning and getting 60 banners, maybe think about taking one of those weaker ones out so that you can get 61. Maybe take 2 out so you can get 62. You could go both ways, but I would err on the side of caution and either shore up your defense so that you're not being completely stripped of protection, shore up your defense so that you're not being stripped, so that you're stripping your opponent of more protection, or go for a more solid undersized victories. Unless I know exactly what it is that he's doing, A, what division he's in, and B, how he's handling his defense and how he's handling offense. All I can do is give some abstract, generic response to that question. So shore up your defense so that you're stripping them of more banners, or take out maybe 1 or 2 of the weaker squad members of a squad and go for an undersized victory. See that you're picking up 61 or 62 banners. That would be the easiest piece of advice that I could give based on the data provided.
All right.
What are your thoughts, Nev, on because I'm Jedi Gunny? I know is kind of a higher GP roster. So, what do you think about potentially holding back Darth Revan teams and Gas teams? Because Night Sisters are still pretty common on defense, and Gas kind of wrecks them almost by himself. And Malak can also one-shot a lot of teams. What are your thoughts on Darth Revan and Gas? I don't know how he's doing it, but just in general, from your perspective.
Well, I mean, most people. It depends what your opponent. It depends what your opponent has, because there are. I mean, Night Sisters. There are a lot of teams that will just chew through Night Sisters. Even Gear 7, Geos are a good example of Geos are a perfect example of a good solid counter against Night Sisters, and they'll chew through tier 7 Night Sisters. So you don't need a Darth Revan or a gas to chew through Night Sisters. I guess it depends. If you've got the gas, it depends what situation your clones are in. Because if you've got a 7-star gas and you've got relic clones, odds are you put that in defense, that's a guaranteed two squad. That's a guaranteed 2-squadder. Unless your opponent has a really good counter squad. 9 times out of 10, it's you put that in defense, and your opponent is going to have to use 2 squads to get them out of the way. So you're thinking in the back of your mind, right? If I put gas on defense, they're going to need 2 squads for it. All I need to do is one hit everything on my opponent. So it's a good one-hit strategy. It's a good one-hit strategy. You're going to get full cleared, but you also know that you're going to get the full clear. So it's a battle of banners. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It depends what tools you're using as well to go over the stats of your opponent. I mean, if you're using GAC Manager, you'll get all your opponent's mod stats. You'll be able to find out how many 10 speed, how many 15 speed, how many 20 speed mods they've got. I mean, not each individual mod, it'll just give you, a list of the stats, but it really, really does depend. I mean, if you're Division 1 or Division 2...
He's a high Division 1.
If you're Division 1 or Division 2, you would be crazy not to use the GAC Manager tool to figure out what your opponent's got. Now, if your GP, if your top 80 GP is the same, it's all about the mods. We know this. It really, really is all about the mods. If your mods are faster than your opponents, especially with the gas, then you know that you're going to get them. You're forcing them to use the 2 squads. So that would be the way that I would go. Make sure that your opponent's mods are slower than you before you put your defense down, because if you know that your opponent's mods are slower than yours before you put your defense down, you know that your defense is going to do what you're planning for your defense to do. Strip them of banners, force them to use a couple teams. And when it comes to Darth Revan, absolutely not. I used to put Darth Revan on defense all the time. Now I put Darth Revan on off. I use Darth Revan for offense all the time because it's a guaranteed one-hit win, and I prefer to do that, especially with a Pom-Pom-tastic account. I keep Jedi Knight Revan, I keep Darth Revan, I keep CLS. I keep those 3 because those 3 are guaranteed to chew through anything that my opponent puts down on defense. And I just, and the Geos as well. So there are certain teams that you just want to keep for offense because you know they will literally chew through anything, whether it's Night Sisters, whether it's Shakti and clones, it's got to be done.
There you go. All right. Next question back up top to Warrior.
Okay. Warrior, question to you from Bale Reed Papichulo. Are Jawas worth backdoor gearing in hopes that they are required for Mandalorian content?
Say that again really quick. The Jawas?
Yeah, are Jawas worth gearing in hopes that they're going to be required for Mandalorian content?
I don't know if they'll necessarily be required, but I think they could be made as like an option. Like they could say, hey, there's an event and then you can bring in this or that, and they could be one of the options. So they sometimes do that, with like certain events like assault battles. They're like, you could bring in clones or Jedi, and sometimes they, how certain assault battles really, like for example, there's assault battles where you can take in your Imperial troopers or you can take in bounty hunters. And everyone knows bounty hunters are the way to go because Imperial troopers suck. Nobody uses their Imperial troopers to do it because they just miss the whole time and you can't win. So you take in your bounty hunters because they just get stacked damage and they get the buff, and next thing you know, they're doing mad damage. So they could do something like that where the Jawas are like overpowered, and whatever else they offer is kind of got a crappy buff that really struggles in that. So there's a possibility they do that just to kind of lean in on it, so that way it kind of forces people to want to work on their Jawas. But they could actually go even a step further. I hate to say this, but you know what I mean? They could actually drop a couple others, like do like a sentinel or scout, drop them in, and then create a faction of 5, and then say they're required because there was the scene where he like has to cross their land, and offers the trade of the goggles and stuff, and so they could, because Jawas have kind of got an important role right now. While it's stupid and unintended, they're kind of good. If you actually take them up and relic them, they're amazing right now. Nobody really does that, but there's a few people that have, and they do. You just sit there, and if you just stack them with just a crazy amount of protection, just an insane amount of protection, they'll survive. And they put 50 to 70 bombs, and they can go through and kill. And it's not optimal for points if that's your goal, is to have points. But if you're going against like a Relic 5 or a Relic 3 team of Geos, and you just want to win, you just want to get the clear, and you don't want to use some really, really nice team, or you don't want to use your Treya, it's great as a team. And they also have other uses. I actually used mine surprisingly against Grievous. It's a clear Grievous, and they work really, really, really well against droids because of all the, like B1 especially, B1 taking all those extra turns, stack tons of additional, and then they just get pop. Eventually he just kills himself. So one of those things where it just depends on what you're looking for. If you're trying to just clear it out and kill it in a double take, or if so strategies are important, right? So it just depends on what your strategy is. But so maybe maybe could they add that? Yeah, I could see them possibly doing something with an event. Do I see them using it with an event that's super important? Probably not. It would probably be something like an assault battle, and it would be probably something optional, like you can go tit or tat, and they would be, something that would be optional. I don't necessarily think they would go like a prerequisite requirement.
From a lore perspective, are the Geos that are in game different than the ones that were in The Mandalorian? Like, aren't those considered like off-world Jawas or something like that?
Yeah, they were off-world Jawas in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Could we see more Jawas? Different. Could we see another Jawa team?
They might throw in another Jawa team, yeah.
With the way they've been going, though, I really hate to say that. I'm like, dude, I hate being negative, man. I don't want to be negative Nelly to the community. So, but they've really been like just lazy with adding stuff, like especially with stuff lately. I can't imagine them adding an entire new Jawa team. I'm sorry. They're having a hard enough time adding stuff, period. I can't imagine them adding stuff like that. I mean, you know what I mean? So
it's bad when they're adding mistakes with packs. They've had like 3 different updates where all they fixed is an issue with packs.
Right.
They're not releasing packs correct. Something is going wrong over at CG right now.
Yeah. I'm also curious to see how, because a lot of the studios now are going to work from home. I'm interested to see how that's going to work, since all of their infrastructure is actually in the building.
Where laptop,
yeah. Well, they can't. That's funny. They can't take this ability home with them. This game, they all have to go into that room. They all have to go to that. It's like an old farmhouse, basically. It's been converted to a Capital Games. And
they're in a new building though, right?
They moved from the red building.
Yeah, they moved from the red building. They have like a whole new really nice, like EA bought like this whole building somewhere else in Sacramento, like a big nice glass building and everything.
When did they move? Like in the last 12 months?
The last couple months.
Yeah, it was it was like 6 months ago or something like that, I believe.
Oh wow, that's totally news to me. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
But in order to access the server farm, they're still going to need to access their local servers, and they're not going to be able to do things remotely. They'll still need to, whoever the techies are, when they need to do things in game, they're still going to need to be able to access their local servers in order to do updates to the game servers that are at the data farm. Sorry, at the server farm.
Well, the way I saw it when I was there, I mean, it's a hive. It's a hive, and they all have things they have to do, and the art team has to be there for the updates. And I think the art team could probably take the one laptop home. Some of that stuff could probably be taken remotely, like for the art team or whatever. But and some of the testing could probably the testing team, could probably go home and like do some of that remotely or whatever. But I don't. I mean, there is some of the core of what they do. I don't know over the next 2 months, and that's crazy because they're already. I would say they're probably a solid 3 to 4 months behind the ball right now from what I knew them to be where they were supposed to be. I mean, when I was still in communication with them, what they were supposed to have out was, I mean, they were talking about the Malevolence coming out 3 months to 6, 3 to 4 months before it came out. So they're behind the curve. I hate to see this slow them down anymore. That will be a mess. So hopefully they can keep going, to their shop and keep working on this.
All right. Next question to Mandy Moore.
All right. Mandalore, question to you from Ouchie Dumpling. And the question is, has anyone else still been having problems with Malevolence fleet and Vulture droids not always assisting when hitting an enemy ship with Buzz droid? And no, they are not dazed.
Yeah, I've been getting that on my Horde account. I've got
Mandalore, you suddenly have a British accent.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I just wanted to say I have had that problem.
Yeah, no, a lot of people have been having that problem. I don't even see CG addressing it or even acknowledging it. But yeah, a lot of people have had that same problem.
They've kind of done the opposite, actually, because I know Ouchie's been mentioning this on the Discord, and if you actually go into like the EA like answers or whatever, where you're supposed to report the bugs, the responses are basically like, we aren't aware of this. Can you take a video? Like, they don't seem to have this on their radar at all right now.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're doing it intentionally or what.
No, they're clueless.
Yeah. Sorry, Nav, you can go ahead.
I know the question was for Mandy. It's just that the way you answered it was like, has anybody been having this trouble?
Well, that's the way she wrote it.
That was the way she worded the question, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not Mandy!
I'm not Mandy, though.
Damn it.
Yeah, but I'd like to be Mandy.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Well, yeah.
Mandalorians are cool. Look at the Mandalorian. He's cool.
Except
Boba Fett's cool. Django's cool.
You know why Mandy is cool,
City.
right?
Why?
Because he comes and he gives without taking. Just saying. Okay. Let's go to the next.
I'm just not going to.
Let's go to the next question here for Nev.
Just awful.
What? That's science right there. Okay.
Shame on you.
Nev, question to you from Scowist. And the question is, I have Negotiator as 7 stars and can get first in fleets every day. Should I worry about Malevolence or should I Horde get 2?
I'd go for Malevolence, because Malevolence is a 5-star Malevolence is really, really good at beating 7-star Negotiators. It really, really. I mean, obviously, you still need the Vulture droid and you still need the Hyena bomber and you need Sunfac, but a 5-star Malevolence with those three as your starting lineup will chew through. Negotiator 5 to 7 stars. So don't Horde, go for the Malevolence. Providing, of course, you've got those ships to actually go in the to go with. There's no point going for malevolence if you haven't got separatists.
Yeah.
Absolutely no point whatsoever. But yeah, don't hoard thinking. Yeah, just go for it. Go for the malevolence.
I'll ask all of you guys what your strategy is, and see if you guys think any different. My strategy has always been work on the shards first, because you can always kind of force gear if you need to with crystals and those kind of things. But sometimes shards are a lot harder to come by because you have to wait for the shipments to refresh. If you're doing it that way, they don't come too often. From the drop rate from energy and stuff is always a little bit harder. I found like the limiting is usually the shards more so than anything else. So I always, in general, recommend going after all shards. Just get everything 7-star, and then you can work on gear for other things. But we'll just go through the order here, Warrior. I know when you were playing, what was your strategy? Was it shards first? Was it focused and just kind of ignore ones that weren't useful? How would you?
Oh no, that's an absolutely sound strategy for everything across the board in the game. If I was like, for example, right before I quit, I was passively just trying to get shards for separatist characters, and once I was going to get separatists to 7 stars, then I was going to move them into my favorites and start working on them. I wasn't even going to touch them until I had their rarity to 7 stars. They're pointless until 7 stars in my mind, and then the people in my favorites were basically all 7-star. There was a couple exceptions. I mean, if once I got a certain team to the point where I wanted or needed to start using them, then I was starting to gear them. There might be 1 or 2 characters that weren't quite at 7-star rarity yet, and I would then put them in favorites, start gearing them, and continue finishing up their rarity. But the same with ships. You know, you basically want to try and get whatever you're working on, get the rarity up where you need them, and then once you have the rarity up, then you can kind of, once you get the team where you need them, then you move them into your favorites and then start working on them ships or characters. I really feel like rarity is a big deal, and until the rarity is where it needs to be, the rest of it is kind of a moot point. And you're going to falsely raise your GP up a bunch, whether it's be ships or characters, by putting a bunch of stuff into it and unnecessarily wasting a bunch of critical pieces, whether it's ship, stuff or gear for characters, until it's necessary to use it. So just leave it all behind. Just worry about the rarity, and then once you're ready, pop all that stuff on.
All right.
Mandalore, Nev, any thoughts from you guys? Same general idea, or do you guys
same general idea?
I instant 7-star just about everything, but yes, I agree with your assessment.
Okay. So let's go back to the top here. Yep. And Warrior, question to you from What Else 73. Now that relics are a thing, is 100 plus flat offense on a mod worthwhile anymore?
Well, 100 would be a really crappy 3-trip, like it's tripped twice. So it had like a 33 and it's tripped 2 more 33s. That's terrible. The terrible roll twice. Or it was like a 50 something and it's tripped once with 50 something. So it depends on how many more rolls it has, right? If it's 100 and it's only rolled once on the offense and it's got more rolls, then yeah, that's great. If it's already tripped multiple times and 100 is all it's got and it's rolled the other 3 times in defense, then probably not. So I guess it just depends on what else is on that mod. Because if it had offense percent or health, let's say it had 4.5% health, and then you're gonna then go to 6E, and health is then gonna go boom at when it hits 6E. That's it might be. I mean, the offense flat might not be super impressive at 6E with only 100, but because when it goes to 6E, the flat isn't gonna jump as much, but it's relative to what else is on that mod. Relics, Gear 13 and Relics, the percentages definitely are most of the time. I mean, it depends on how high the percentages went, but most of the time are better than the flat. Whereas the flat statistically tends to be better when you're in the lower, Gear 11s, 10s, 9s, 8s, because it's just a higher amount for the characters. So it just depends on kind of where you're at, what's on it. But just do some, just ask yourself a question, like what is this character supposed to do? What should this character have? If this character is an attacker and it has still some speed and some offense and maybe some health, like, or something like that, some protection. That means it's got some durability and it's got some stuff for attacking. Hey, good. That sounds like a good mod. It doesn't have to make a ton of sense as long as it makes some sense. But if it's like defense, offense, and health, maybe it's not the best mod for it. So, just ask yourself kind of out loud some of those questions and see what else you have in your inventory and see if you have something better that could go on to that character that might make more sense for that particular character type.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Next question for Mandalore. And question to you is from Scowist. And the question is, what are some good secondary Jedi to farm for light side GOTB, and what relics do they need, and should we wait for possible rework?
I would definitely wait for the rework, because I G13'd Juhani, Eth Koth, Mace, and I know, and none of them are useful at all.
They get slaughtered.
All. I mean, I haven't Relic 7'd them because that's a fucking waste. But yes, wait for any reworks and wait for any new Jedi, because I really thought that like Eth Koth, especially with his anti-droid stuff, would be good. He gets demolished. He gets absolutely butt raped. So hold off. Light side TV.
He's got some Christmas critter action going on there. Like, we're sitting in Eth Koth to see what's going on. Hey guys, Eth Koth here. Oh wait, there's some cute critters here. The Christmas critters. Oh my god!
Oh my god! I went straight to the South Park episode as well. Hail Satan!
So yes, short answer: just wait. Just hang about a bit.
By all means, take them to 7 stars. You know, by all means, farm those secondary Jedi to 7 stars. But don't no need to go to town on them with the gear. Because we have no idea what this new era CG talking about is going to be, because everything is subject to change. But
especially if they do what we want them to do and they come out with Bad Batch, if they release the Bad Batch tunes, because then we could have
would be incredible.
We could have a Gas lead clones team and then a Shakti lead clones team, and that's gonna help a whole lot with some of the other battles. In certain phases you're still gonna have 2 separate Jedi battles, but I mean, just hang tough.
The Bad Batch would be their own 5-man squad, though.
There's only 4 of them.
There's only 4, I think, right?
Yeah.
Unless you throw
you guys aren't reviewing the show at the moment, are you? You're not doing it.
I must be behind an episode.
I think I know where you're going with that, but
you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, but for right now, officially,
I'm not going to say it, but obviously, the Bad Batch would have a 5-man squad.
Yeah, technically you're right, but we'll leave it at that. So, but it would be cool to have something like that in the game. I'd love to.
The 5th one is Baby Yoda. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next.
No, Baby Yoda is going to be called by the Mandalorian to do a heal. That's what
100%.
I'm waiting for the day that Baby Yoda drinks soup out of the Mandalorian's helmet.
Okay. All the Mandalorians. That's what all the Mandalorian specials are going to be: heal, choke, and it's just going to be little Baby Yoda's going to come in. He's going to do those things, and then he's going to disappear again, because there's no way CG is going to put Baby Yoda in to actually,
kill.
Killed.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
No, I think he's a summonable character, like you said, and then after he does a move, then he stuns himself for a turn, and then comes back and stuns himself and comes back.
All right. Let's see. We're getting to the top of the hour. We got 104 people watching and 25 likes. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, it would be very much appreciated. And if we're pushing for 5K subs, so if you'd like the content and things that we're doing, hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to us if you could. So, all right. Next question, Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman.
All right, next question, Nev, and this is kind of an open question, so you can take it however many directions you want. Question from Brian Richards: how much potency is too much potency?
There's no such thing as too much potency. especially on characters that need it. You know, if you want to land those debuffs, go all out on the potency. What the hell?
Do you think there's any diminishing returns though? This is like once you reach a certain threshold, maybe is what they're asking.
It depends. It depends how much tenacity your opponent's got. I mean, if your opponent's got 100% tenacity, then you need more than 100% potency. It's as simple as that.
I'm just trying to think, like...
Yeah, there's no diminishing returns with potency, but it depends on what you're facing. And for things like light side GOTB, if you're trying to land debuffs and stuff, you're going to need crazy high because you have the level gap also for going into the...
And even
formula
then,
between tenacity and potency, and even then, it's going to be pretty hard to get debuffs on unless you manage to land like tenacity down through a non potency exchange type thing. So
it's not good.
Yeah, that makes the good point that it depends on the tenacity of what you're facing. So usually the answer is no.
All right.
Okay. Next question for Warrior. Question from What Else 73. And the question, with percentage stats on mods, what is a quote-unquote good percentage to make a mod worthwhile?
Well, so they have different percentages for different mods in there. I go over that. I actually have on my YouTube channel, I have a series that's for anybody. I think veteran players would learn a lot, but I have it in my beginners series, and so you can go into my channel and can look for like under it's a folder for like videos for beginners or whatever, and it's recent actually within the last like I think 8 to 10 months ago. I don't even think it was 8 months ago, and I actually go over the secondary stats and kind of what is a good secondary stat. And I kind of go over like what's the average of those secondary mods and what you should be kind of looking for. So I do answer that question very, very specifically. So I don't want to go over too much here because I answer it way more in depth and way better than I would superficially on this call. So I think that it would be better if they go and actually watch that video because I did much more in-depth analysis on that video. And then I presented it in a much better fashion because every single stat, like defense, has a specific average that they give. And that average for defense is totally different than the average that they give percentage-wise for offense and different than the average that they give for health and stuff. And I talk about that. And so, what's a good health offense average is different than what's a good offense average that you should be looking for. So you have to kind of have an eye for that, and you need to know what each one should be looking like. For example, 0.5 or above is what your eye should be looking for on offense. So if you're getting a 0.33 on offense, that's trash. That's really trash. If you're getting 0.54 on offense percent, your eye should be like ding, ching, ching, ching. Hey, that's nice. I likey. You know what I mean? Your eye should be paying attention to something like that. It should be something that you're kind of paying attention to. So that's just one example. But I talk about that in those videos. And so I have different playlists, and you can go into those playlists. I have a mod playlist specifically. So you can go into the mods playlist. I have a beginners playlist, and it's in there as well. But the mod playlist is a good place to start. And then on potency, keep in mind, this is the previous question, there is kind of diminishing returns on potency because you can have basically too much, because tenacity up will just kill it. So if there's tenacity up, it doesn't matter how much you have, you're wasting it. And with tenacity is trash unless people get an exorbitant amount of tenacity. There's only a few characters that really had enough tenacity to matter until mods 2.0 and relics and all of that. And so only recently, like only in the last 12 months has tenacity even become relevant. Mods 2.0 made tenacity slightly relevant, And then, slicing mods became slightly more relevant. And then they started building a few kits that made tenacity even a little bit more relevant. And then relics shored up a little bit more relevance. But if you want to be just kind of like, I want to make sure that when I'm trying to apply debuffs, that those debuffs apply. The best someone's going to get when they're trying to stack tenacity for the average character, I mean, they're lucky if they can get 100 to 150%. But most people, if they've got a badass tenacity set and they're tossing it on their Relic 13 character, is about 120% tenacity add. There's some out there that might get 140%, but most of them not. You're going to overcome of the 120, you're going to overcome 100% of that automatically with the debuff itself without even putting an ounce of potency onto it, okay? Because every debuff has a 100% chance automatically. Then, if you want to apply that debuff and overcome their tenacity additional, you want to have 100% chance, you need to overcome the remaining balance. So if they have 120% tenacity, you should have 120% potency over that 20% tenacity remaining balance. So it's math, but basically if they have 120%, you should have 100% over that. So 220% minus the 100% guarantee you already have. So you should have 120%. So you add 120% or less, and you're going to give yourself a nearly 100% guarantee. Now, keep in mind, there's always a 15% kind of door that prevents that RNG says, not today, or, it is going to happen today. It's kind of an RNG FU that they've programmed in. So there's not always going to be the case that something's going to happen or something's not going to happen, because that's just the way it works. But you should have, if they're having 120% tenacity, you should probably have at least 100% potency as a solid minimum, and it's not uncommon to have 120% potency on your character to be safe. And if you're going into the new GOTBs, 120% potency is very safe to add to these characters. Now, keep in mind, some of the new characters you're going against have a 300% tenacity, and it's pointless. So some of that PvE content, you're not gonna apply what you're trying to apply, because they pre-programmed in too much tenacity. You're just no way mathematically you're going to be able to apply basically anything you're trying to apply, unless the debuffs you're applying are like irresistible or unavoidable, or any of those kind of keywords. So just something to keep in mind.
All right, next question.
Next question for Mandalore, and this question comes to you from What Else 73. And he says, when the Viagra twins are reliced up for Galactic Legends, will that make their zetas necessary, especially after they get the resistance tag in 2021?
So Viagra twins is a good name. Their kits are actually really, really good, and they're light side scoundrels. So if you have them reliced for the Galactic Legendaries, and if you already have the Zetas on them, you could slap them on a Kira, Vango, Chewbacca team, and they're pretty good. They if you mod them right, they pack a pretty good punch. Would I put the Zetas on them right now? No. Am I waiting to see how they synergize with Resistance whenever they get that tag, because CG announced that literal weeks ago and they still don't have it? Yes. It'd be really nice, I think, to be able to field, in theory anyway, 2 full viable Resistance teams, also 2 full viable First Order teams. But same answer as I gave last time. I'm in a holding pattern until I see the kits for the Galactic Legendaries, and then whatever relevant reworks.
All right.
Okay. Next question for Nev, and question to you from Brian Richards. Do any Ewoks need to be fast besides Haplu?
You need your Ewok Elder to be fast so that they can get the. I'm assuming that we're talking about what's required of the Ewoks in order to get the C-3PO for the C3PO event. So I had a fast Papaloo, and I had a fast, because I only had them at gear 11. But I had a fast Papaloo and I had a fast Ewok Elder, because people get, they get popped off left, right, and center so much, and you want your Ewok Elder fast so that you can either heal or revive, as soon as physically possible. And I kept on doing it over and over again. I would lose like 1 or 2 within the first, first foray of battle. So I want, I thought, sod it, I'll put as much speed on the Ewok Elder as possible so that they're going either first or second, and then the heal kicked in or the res kicked in, and then, that was it. So it doesn't just need to be Papaloo. It depending on how bad the RNG is and how many characters you lose at the start, you want your Ewok Elder going off as soon as possible so that you can revive the Ewoks that get taken out straight away before you get a turn. That's it. I don't know about the rest. I just had Papaloo fast, and I just had the Ewok Elder fast. I piled on the offense on. I just went as much offense on. I went as much offense as possible on Wicket. I went as much tenacity on Low Grey and on. Who's the bloody tank? What's his bloody name?
Papaloo.
Not Papaloo. Sorry, the other one.
Chirpa.
Chirpa.
Yeah, Chief Chirpa. I went tenacity on him, and that seemed to work for me at gear. With having them at gear 11. I did that mod switch and did it first time, the tier 7. So changed the mods around so that, Wicket was offense, Chief Chirpa was tenacity, Ewok Elder was fast. And it seemed to work for me. If we're talking about if we're talking about it for C3PO, if you're talking about them in GAC, I wouldn't know, because I never, ever, ever put Ewoks in defense on GAC, because everybody's got a nest. So what's the point? Why would you want to give your opponent 63 or 64 banners? It's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer.
What about offensively? Do you use Ewoks offensively?
I use that exact team. I use that exact team for the assault, for the attacks. For the ATST assault battle, that type, those set of mods on those Ewoks allow you to just hit the auto and it'll do it. And I do use my Ewoks for cleanup. I do use my Ewoks as a cleanup crew, because any squad with just three or less left, you can put the Ewoks in and hit the auto. So I use my Ewoks primarily for cleanup. If I have bad RNG, they're guaranteed to do a cleanup on a 3-man squad of any nature.
Yeah, and I'll just say for purposes like GAC and whatnot, right? It is Ewoks are a turn meter order type of team, right? And you have to kind of understand what you're doing with the turn meter sequence, so you can modify the speed in order to optimize it. You're looking for a fast Papaloo, and the reason, though, even though his speed is a little bit slower, and his base speed, his unique gives him like 25% speed right off the bat, because he doesn't start off with a taunt. So usually your Papaloo will go off first. He calls Ewok Elder. Ewok Elder gives turn meter with his basic, right? And so you have to keep them fast, but it's not necessarily like the fastest, right? You're trying to make it so that if Ewok Elder goes and he gets called to assist by Papaloo, he gains 10% turn meter, then he can go and then provide another 10% turn meter with his basic attack. And now everyone has gained 20% and then they can go. Or you can sequence it with Wicket, who's also really fast, and sequence it so Wicket will go after potentially Ewok Elder, depending on how your mods work out. If you don't have a lot of depth, you might need to make Wicket fast in order to try and have him call to assist Ewok Elder and gain that extra turn meter bonus. So it's a turn meter sequencing team if you're trying to optimize it to the greatest extent. And then
I have seen a crazy Ewok team on defense with what I can't remember which Ewok was taken out, but they put Dooku in with them, because Dooku is a guaranteed counter. So I've seen Dooku in there, which is nuts, because Dooku spreads that stealth, and is guaranteed to get a counter off. So it was, I mean, I still beat it, but it took me 2 teams to beat it because I just threw my nest in there thinking, oh, it's Ewoks. And then I realized, crap, there's it's not all Ewoks, and it didn't work. and the lightning ended up doing over my nest. So it was a bit like, normally I'll put JTR in against bounty hunters, and one time I came across bounty hunters and somebody had taken out Greedo and put in Sabine, and Sabine with her armor shred just destroyed me. It was crazy. Yeah, so you've got to keep an eye out, because every now and then you'll be like, oh, it's an Ewok team, and you'll go in with your usual counter, and they've swapped one character for something to kind of throw you off. But if it's all Ewoks, no defense. Don't put them in defense. Save them for offense. They're a good cleanup crew.
Okay.
All right. Next question.
So, Warrior, question to you from Sith Lord 72. How long until we get actual content in a realistic term and not a CG time frame? I'm getting tired of all the useless packs and lack of content. What are your thoughts, please?
I just had an incoming call. Was that for me?
Yes, it was.
Say that call again. Yeah.
Yeah, I can repeat that. So Sith Lord 72 says, how long until we get actual content in a realistic term, not a CG time frame? I'm getting tired of all of the useless packs and lack of content. What are your thoughts, please?
6 months.
You really think it's 6 more months? Wow. Yeah, that seems realistic.
Yeah, 6 months. You'll see probably, as far as like character content, like actual characters, probably before that. A couple of characters, and you might even see 1 or 2 ships. I would say probably 4 characters and 2 ships. You'll be lucky 1 character or 1 ship per month over the next 6 months. You'll probably go a solid month without anything, and then you'll see like a month with like 2 things, like 2 characters or a character and a ship, and then you'll go another month without anything. I'm guessing 6 total items over the next 6 months, but those are characters and ships, not really any content, just kind of character and ship adds, because they're constantly trying to add characters and ship. But as far as like any real content, like changing or like adding, or what they consider content, which is like adding a new assault battle or changing a new tier to an assault battle, or reskinning something or something like that. If you guys are looking for like a new raid, 14 to 16 months minimum from now, maybe longer.
That's sad.
I don't see. Yeah, and I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly. I'm just trying to be realistic.
No, that's what you got to do. God damn.
Yeah, exactly. I think you got to have honest expectations, and I think that's one of the reasons why they fail, is they're just not very good at being like forthright and honest, and why I don't play anymore is because I you do this for years, and you're like, okay, well, if you can't just be honest, then I'm out. So if they were just a little more honest with the community, I think the community would handle it better. If they said, hey, we'll be bringing out a few characters over the next few months, we're doing this X, Y, and Z, and we're going to be working out whatever. But they just kind of hide behind the quietness that is being quiet, and it's a little bit frustrating. So the packs are not content. I know they claim that, but it's not content. The hyperdrive bundle is not content. I know they spent a long time, over 3 months, developing that hyperdrive bundle. In fact, if you bought it or watched when SureShot got it bought for him in my live stream when we did that, it was amazing. It was like an entire event. Like, it was like choom, 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 like things were shooting across, and we were like going through space and changing things, and there was like all this cool stuff. Like, they literally, like, it was an event. The hyperdrive bundle was an event. If you purchased it, it was like a one-time event you got to experience if you spent money. And they spent 3 months building that event, And that was just kind of, it was cool to go through, but it was also kind of sad. That's why we bought it, because we wanted everyone to be able to experience it without having to buy it. But it was also kind of sad that that was like the last quarter, like, you know, August or like October, November, December. That was what they chose to spend their time on, instead of actually doing the Galactic Legends that they were talking about. And that kind of was a letdown. It was like, nah.
All right, next question for Miss Mandy
Letdown
Moore.
in this game. I've never had a letdown.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Finn?
That's just
What are you-
silly.
What are you talking about?
Warriors all
What-
negative.
Yeah.
This game is awesome. Sorry. All right. Next question for Mandalore.
There you.
Question from B-Rit Papichulo. Even with relics, can Ewok still take down First Order? I've noticed unmasked Kylo's tankiness goes through the roof.
I can't speak from experience on that one because my Ewoks are all G12. I imagine if you mirror relic levels, it's possible. However, I wouldn't recommend it for several reasons. I think there are much better places that you could spend your relic materials and gear. And also, I'm not sure that I think if First Order Sith Trooper is in there, he could very easily rock an Ewok team. I'd be more worried and concerned about First Order Sith Trooper than I would about crew. If we're talking vanilla crew R7 versus Ewoks R7, probably still doable because it's just escalation, right? But then you throw in the new kit of First Order Sith Trooper, or maybe even the Ginger Balls boy. I think that could throw off the Ewok versus First Order matchup that most of us are used to. So I think there are better places to spend your hard-earned.
There you go.
All right, next question for the American Brit.
Okay. Next question for Nev is from Sith Lord 72. He says, I have 1.6 million GP and have two Relic 3 bounty hunters only. And I have 12 Gear 12s. Why am I constantly facing full Relic Darth Revan squads in GAC? I'm working towards Jedi Knight Revan. It makes GAC not.
Because you're top heavy on your GP.
Yeah.
The logarithm's picking up your top. The logarithm is picking up the top of your roster. You went for fine. Going for bounty hunters is all well and good, but at that type of low GP, you need to be going for your Revens first. That would be like, if you want to be successful in GAC, you need to relic the characters for GAC that everybody else relics for GAC, especially at those lower levels in those lower divisions. I in all the lower division matchups that I'm in, it's Darth Revan or Yoda or Jedi Knight Revan. Those are the characters that are relicked, and it doesn't take into account which character is relicked. It just looks at your top 40 and your top 80 characters in your roster, and the logarithm just wraps them up. So you've got two relicked bounty hunters, so the GP on them is high. That's just the way it is. Get cracking on your Jedi Knight Revan and your Darth Revan. That's all I can say. If you want to, if you don't want to, if you want to be competitive in those matchups, you're gonna have to put a hole on whatever it is you're doing and get those characters farmed and relicked. Because I was in exactly the same. My Pom-Pom-tastic account's 2.2, but before I went over the 2 million threshold, I was really, really going hard for Darth Revan so that I could get a relic to Darth Revan, because I was getting matched. I had an entire Jedi team relicked to 2s and 3s, and I was getting put in against relicked Jedi Knight Revan and Darth Revan. But because I had 4 relicked, I was coming up against people that had like Darth Revan and Yoda relicked and Bastilla and Darth Revan, so 4 relicked characters. So it kind of evens out. You've got 2 relic characters. You're coming up against other people that have got a couple of relic characters. They've just got different relic characters than you. And in GAC, relic bounty hunters don't mean squat. You know, in GAC at that low GP, you need a Jedi Knight Revan and you need a Darth Revan. Just try and get your Darth Revan before you go over the 2 million threshold, which will take you up another division, and then you will really, really suffer in GAC with relic bounty hunters and not having a Darth Revan or a Jedi Knight Revan relic, because every single one that I've been matched up in since crossing that 2 million threshold, that they've always had a relic, the relic Revans. They've always had relic Revans. So whether they go in defense or offense is irrelevant. I always get matched against relic Revans once I cross that 2 million GP threshold. So you've got a little bit of time before you go over to the next division, but your current division matchmaking, yeah, you're going to find it tough.
All right. Back up top, round and round we go. Warriors up. What will he say? Let's find out.
Okay. Warrior, question to you from Gav P. He says, my gas is done. I've been hoarding and farming resources for Galactic Legends, bringing characters to gear 12 while saving gear 13 pieces to see the requirements. Where's the best to start to get broader benefit?
Where's the best to start to get Marauder benefits?
No. Where's this to broader benefit? So what should he be focusing on to get the most bang for his buck, basically?
In relevance to just relics and
gearing. In gearing, yeah, getting characters to relics and going towards Galactic Legends.
I mean, it just depends on which Galactic Legend he's wanting to go with. Really, you need to just pick one and then just focus down. Figure out which one you feel like you're probably closer to getting is my suggestion. I mean, if one you're way off and the other one you're closer, then that's the one you would probably want. If you're going to go for one, go for the one you're closer at. If you've got one that you've got like 4 relic characters already and the other one you've got 1 relic character, probably go with the one that you have 4 relic characters on. Or, if you've got, the same and you just principally don't want to mess with Rose Tico, go for First Order. You know what I mean? I think they're going to be pretty symmetrical as far as power once they're up there. And I personally, if I was still playing, would actually go First Order because I feel like once everything plays out in the long run, I feel like in ships that the First Order eventually is going to be one of the best offensive fleets in the game once they introduce maybe 1 or 2 more ships. But I just feel like they would need to introduce 1 or 2 more ships that I think even right now, it's still one of the better offensive fleets if played correctly with the right, fleets. So, I just think you need to pick one direction and go that route and then just hyper focus on that specific group of characters and just one character at a time. Just grab a character, put in your favorites, hyper focus down until you hit the jail requirements, and then move it out of favorites, go to the next one. Hyper focus on it until you get it where you need to, move it out of favorites, go to the next one, and just keep doing it like a checklist until you're where you need to be. And don't worry about the time, just keep worrying about it just each day, just hyper focus. So you will be surprised if you do it this way, how fast you actually get through this list. Now, the only other suggestion I would make is go character to character, starting with the relic requirements lowest first to relic highest last. And this is why. The relic 3s are going to be the easiest to get to and get done, and it's going to be kind of a snowball effect. You're going to get those done, and you're going to move to others. It's going to motivate you, and then you get to the relic 5s, and it's also going to allow you to save those pieces you need for the relic 5s or the relic 7s. And so by the time you get to the relic 5s, you'll have more of those pieces to gear, or when you get to relic 7, you'll have more of those pieces saved up. And so by the time you get to do those relic tier 7 characters, hopefully you'll have enough gear to crunch to make for those pieces. If you start with those hardest first, you could potentially sit on a relic tier 6 trying to get to 7 for months and get discouraged, and that would just be a frustrating endeavor. One thing, just really quick side note, I had a couple actually messages come in over the last 10 minutes from a couple of patrons who were listening saying, you once told us about tenacity and potency super simplistically, and just a minute ago you probably confused the world, so could you tell them how you told us to really make it easy, simple? How you told us how simple it is, and so I'm just going to really simplify it. Get your tenacity within 15 points of their potency. That's it. Okay? Get your tenacity within 15 points of their potency, or vice versa. Get your potency within 15 points of their tenacity. So if you want to know how much potency is enough, you want to get it within 15 points of tenacity. Anything over is a waste.
All right.
Yeah. Mandalore, question to you from Eternal Revan. Question is, do you think CG's new content, quote unquote new content, will be actually something fun or just more pulling your hair out difficult event? And I imagine this is referring to Galactic Legends.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pull your hair out event for most people. I mentioned this in one of my videos yesterday. I think when gas was first released, I think there were fewer than 400 gas unlocked, or no, maybe it was 7-star. I don't remember. Do you remember any of those numbers, Ranger? Because we went over those numbers, I think,
For which
a couple
one now?
of times for the gas release, the event. But suffice it to say, there were very few, very limited number of gases that were certainly maxed on the first release. And I think that these Galactic Legendaries are going to be comparable to that. I think that at most you're going to see a few hundred of these at the outset.
Yeah.
Because the events are going to be available all the time, unlike gas.
Right.
So that number will steadily trickle up.
It was a low number. I remember
it was
that.
very low.
And from that number, who actually had 7-star gas right off the bat and stuff was even lower than
very
that.
few.
I mean, it was pretty poopalicious.
Yeah, poopalicious is a good way to describe it. Very good adjective. Very good. But yeah, so I think that these new GLs, you're going to see fewer than 1,000 for sure, probably closer in the couple hundred ranges. So to your point, I think that's going to be a pull your hair out event. And what Warrior was saying, I think the quote unquote new content is in fact going to be a lot more character releases. I am, however, cautiously optimistic that I think we'll see a new raid around Christmas. Because let's be real, and Warrior's not off base here, right? He, in terms of the timeline that he gave, I think he would just say 14 months, but a year plus, right, Warrior?
Or a new raid, yeah.
Yeah. He's not off base there, but I have to think that if we don't get a new raid in the next several months, I mean, we haven't had a new raid it's got to be, 2 years since Sith Raid was released?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, if they go 3 years without a new raid, I mean, there's going to be nobody left in this game, because that would be ridiculous. And they've teased a new raid, so I have to hope that it'll come out by Christmas or around Christmas. Fingers crossed.
I mean, that's just
or Life Day, as it were.
Life Day, yeah. God, let's not relive that. Oh no. Sad panda now. Oh God. All right, next up to chewing bubblegum and streaming at the same time, Nev.
Okay. Nev, question to you from Gav P. He said this sort of links to my last question, which was just for reference, Nev, the question he was asking about the question went to Warrior about gas and how to deal with Gear 13 and getting a broad benefit. So his question is, seeing for free-to-play, Galactic Legends will be a distant target. Is it worth staggering taking Galactic Legends tunes and other useful tunes to Gear 13 to have a better rounded roster?
It depends what you want to do with your roster. I mean, I'm free to play geared towards GAC. So going down the GL route totally screws up the top end of your roster for GAC. Relict First Order or Relict Resistance characters still, I don't know exactly what they're going to do against like Jedi Knight Revan squads or Darth Revan squads or CLSs and stuff like that. So it really, really does depend what you want your roster to do, because those Relic First Order and Relic Resistance characters, it's just a collection in order to do the event. We don't know exactly how many of those characters you actually are going to end up using. So I'm from a free-to-play point of view, I'm just not bothering with the current GL characters that they're bringing out. I will just probably I'll definitely go all out when they bring Galactic Legend Luke Skywalker out. I mean, that's a definite. And regarding when they do Galactic Legend, Galactic Republic and Separatist, those are going to be relatively straightforward because most people will have already relicked up a bunch of Galactic Republic and Separatist for the GOTBs. But regarding Resistance and First Order, I from a free-to-play point of view, I'm just not bothering. I'm not invested in those characters, and I'm never really going to use them. I barely touch them or use them in GAC at the moment. So if you're going for other stuff, stay on target. If you're trying to relic up your CLS Chewie Han squad, then stay on target with them. If you're trying to relic up your Jedi Knight Revan squad, stay on target with them. If you're trying to relic up your Darth Revan squad for your with your Bastilla and your HK, stay on target. There are lots of squads that you're going to use in GAC that as you progress through the divisions, you're going to need them relicked. So stay on target with those, because GAC, you're going to get a bunch of rewards, and your reward for relicking up, double-digit characters in Resistance and First Order is one extra character. That's it, just one extra character. And odds are you're probably not going to face rosters with that Galactic Legend Rey or that Galactic Legend Kylo Ren until, a much, much higher division, because they will have relicked up 20 characters. It's going to make the top 40, top 80 extremely top heavy, and the algorithm is probably not going to pick them up and matchmake you with them. So if you're already trying to relic other squads for your roster, just stay on target with them. Don't get sidetracked. Don't go for Resistance, and don't go for the that, especially if you're a GAC player.
All right. Let's go back to Warrior.
Okay. Warrior, question to you from Hermit Fulgrim. And the question is, does anyone on the panel know enough about coding to speculate about the spaghetti code issues that is causing all of these bugs?
Finn.
So I'm not a coder, and I am a layman, so I really can't speak onto it, other than I visited 4 or 5 times to their actual team to Capital Games. I physically visited formally 3 or 4 times, and then informally I visited once, and I got to hang out with the development team. A lot of the development team was very, very cool. I liked a lot of those guys and gals, and they were very open and discussed a lot of stuff, both positive and opportunities that they had. And they did talk about the the frameware, or however you want to say it, the build that they had, and that basically the build that they had for the game is it's really limited in scope and function, and it's kind of an outdated framework for what they want to do and how it was built. And it every time that they add new things, it really, basically the new stuff trips up the old stuff, and every time they add something, it breaks old stuff. And you see this every time that they add something. It creates, they add one new thing and 5 things break, and then they spend the next update fixing 3 of the 5 things they broke, but their list of things that are broken now go from 16 things to 18 things that are still broken. And the next update is one new update, and now 5 more things break, and now they're at 23 things broken, but then they fixed 6 things. I mean, if you look at the updates, they have literally, and I'm not exaggerating, they literally have a list of 30 things every update that are fixes, from audio fixes to character fixes, to character interactions, to minor artwork issues, to all sorts of stuff. Just lots of different things. Some of it's superficial, some of it's significant. Some of the interactivity is irreparable, and they'll tell you that. There's just nothing we can do about that. And some of that they can't repair, they'll actually just give up on. A good example is when Han, the interactivity of Han's prerequisite was breaking the territory battle that Han's prerequisite was requiring. It was bugged really, really bad, and the Hoth Han requirement, whatever, was messing with it, and they could not fix it because of the coding. They just dropped his prerequisite, and it fixed it. And they didn't know quite the interaction, how or why, but they knew that if they just dropped it, it would fix it. So that was their fix. They just dropped it, and that sucked because they wanted that to be a prerequisite. That was the intention of their game, was to have that be a prerequisite, but they couldn't fix their game, so they just made it easier for everybody, because they couldn't fix their game. And there's other interactions like that in the game where they can't fix the interaction. I think the Geo interaction is so complex with the Jawas. It is so complex they can't fix it, but because it's such a unique, weird interaction that is kind of one-off, that they're like, you know what, we'll just leave it alone, because there's not a lot of people that are gonna raise the Jawas up, and if they do, that's money for us anyway, so we're just gonna leave it alone, because I don't even know if they could fix it anyway. In fact, I'm pretty confident they can't. And so their issues are significant, and I do remember on multiple trips saying, do you guys feel like that you guys can fix this? And they said, we are constantly trying to clean it up, but it's foundational. Like, it's structural. It's like your house's structure is, it's built like this. There's just, you would have to start completely over. So it's going to be like this forever. There's not really any way to fix this structural issue. And I know that they've made hints in the past of fixing the spaghetti coding and all of that. I think that there's ways that they can upgrade, some of their speeds and servers and additional servers and this and that. And I think some of that takes like load bearing off, and it can increase some of their they can do some increase in art, and they can support like different, platforms with cell phones and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately the basal coding platform is just kind of stuck. And from what I've been told from the people who work on the game themselves, they said they're kind of stuck with what they have. And when they run into a roadblock, sometimes they just kind of have to give up and like do workarounds, and it just is what it is. And you see that all the time in the game where they don't know what to do, so they just give up and they just say, this is just what we're just gonna leave it like that. Or you'll see something's broken for 8 months or 10 months. And right now, as we speak, there are hundreds of unattended interactions that are still happening in the game that they can't fix right now as we speak. Open tickets. And most of them that are still open are probably not going to be resolved in the next few months.
All right. Let's go to the next question there, Dr. Finn.
Okay. Next question for Mandalore. And question is from Chewy. He says, has anyone noticed they used the neutral tag in game finally?
Yeah, I didn't. I actually responded to Chewy in YouTube chat. I did not notice that, and then I went and looked, and he is absolutely correct. So that's interesting. Didn't notice it.
Where is it being utilized?
If you look at one of the droids, the shield generator droid, he is white. He is neither red nor blue. He is white in the assault battle event.
Yeah, the shield generator in assault battle is white. He glows white.
The shield generator. Huh.
So there you go. We have a neutral.
We have a neutral.
Finally getting one.
Yeah.
Hondo Onaka.
We know it ain't gonna be my version of Revan, so let's just not think about it.
Yeah. We'll give you another one here, Mandalore. So Gav P has a question. Says, what star do Hyena and Vulture droids and gear levels for Geo work on offense with a 5-star negotiator? I'm 35 stars off from unlocking a gear 12 plus 3 Geos, 66 out of 100 on Vulture, and 36 out of 85 on Hyena.
I mean, it really depends on what you're up against, but if you're in a shard that has a decent amount of age and you have some Krakens in there, then you need those ships at 7-star. You can do it with Malevolence at 5, but you really need the ships at 7-star. Otherwise, it's just going to be an exercise. Maybe not futility, but certainly frustration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you haven't got the 5-star Malevolence, get ready for lots of timeouts, because that's what tends to happen. It's not that you get your butt kicked; it's that 5 minutes just ain't long enough.
All right, next question is for Nev, and Nev, question to you is from Chewy, and the question is, how do you think the next power level increase will be developed or delivered?
Well, they're setting up this new framework. It's 50-50. It's either going to be Relic 8 to 14, or it's going to be a level cap from 85 to 90, or to 95, or to 100. It's going to be one of those two. That's what I think. That's personal opinion. That's what I think. Once they've got the new framework set up, because the current system that they're using is, as Warrior was talking about regarding the coding. I've sat next to coders and I've watched what they do on a system that's already in place, and a lot of it is cut and paste. And when you cut and paste things, it creates a lot of bugs, which we get in the game. But when you're doing a brand new framework that you then drop into servers, that's kind of almost like a clean install of an operating system, it's much, much easier to then cut and paste and add things to that new framework. That I think that'll be when we get once they've got this new framework set up, that's when we'll get the new raid, we'll get a new power increase. It depends, really. If they go with relics, then that's great for the people that have already got a bunch of relics, going from 8 to 14. If it's gold, it'll be, selling gold packs, because, going 85 to 90, they'll make it something stupid like you'll need 12 million or something, ridiculous, just like they did with previous level caps. So that would be the way I think that they'll increase the power. Either a level cap increase or relics 8 to 14.
Yep, I'm definitely on more of the side of thinking it's going to be a level cap increase.
Buddy wanted to say hi to everybody.
Yeah.
Doggy.
No, he doesn't care.
Say hi, buddy. Say hello to everybody, buddy.
He's happy.
Yeah,
he's getting ready to fall asleep.
He's getting the pets. Buddy, you have any thoughts on the Jedi Academy here? No thoughts.
Mm-mm.
Just
nope, he's content. He wants to go to bed.
Just skip ahead.
Yep.
He was upstairs barking like a madman because my mom's outside doing stuff. So I'm like, God damn it, buddy! So I went up there and calmed him down. He came around and I was like, Oh, you're here. Well, you can pet me. That's all that matters, right, buddy?
Yes. Yeah, Buddy don't care about anything else right now.
Buddy's just.
All right. Let's see. Next question back up top to Warrior. And Warrior, question to you from Rico. At what star level does Y-Wing become good enough to join a fleet?
Oh, I think because it's a crewless fleet, 5-star is sufficient. But I used the Y-Wing at 7 stars only because when it first came out, I just got it all the way to 7 stars, threw it in, and it's one of those you kind of have to be all in. It's like you got to put it in a full fleet because it really benefits off of having a full Galactic Republic fleet. So if you're putting it into a fleet where it's not all Galactic Republic and you're kind of not all in and you're still trying to use not all Galactic Republic, and you're hanging on to some other ships and still trying to use like Lando's Millennium Falcon in the background and Houndstooth and like some other stuff, the 5-star is going to be less impressive because his kit is built around all, being all in on Galactic Republic. So it's one of those things you have to decide: are you all in or not? If you're all in, 5 stars is good enough, but it obviously more impressive at 6 and 7 stars. They built these shipless ships or characterless ships to basically be equivalent to ships with characters, and they built that into the stars, and so a 5-star is kind of like a 7-star with a like gear 9 crew, a gear 10 crew member. So as far as power goes and stuff like that, so it's good. It's just not as good as like a 6-star, because a 6-star is kind of like having a gear 12 character, and then a 7-star is kind of like having someone with relics. So you just, if you can get that, obviously 6 and 7, then great. But at 5, he's good. Just be all in on your Galactic Republic fleet.
There you go. Okay, next question. So we have one more question for each of you guys, and then the fun question. So,
What do you think,
Mandalore,
buddy?
question to you from Michael H19. Do you need your bugs at gear 13 to beat a 7-star negotiator if you have a 5-star malevolent?
Can it be done? Probably. Again, same answer as before. It's going to be very, very frustrating, and it's going to require a lot of good RNG. If you can get them to G13, it'll make a tremendous difference, assuming you're going against a fully G13 negotiator GR crew. It's possible. Is it probable? No. So, and also, why not G13 Geos? Because they're a great utility team in GAC and TW. I wouldn't go crazy on the relics, but if you can 13 them and get relic 1, 2, it'll make a tremendous difference in a number of different ways.
Okay. And last serious question here for Nev. Question from Red 5. And the question is, I left the game in February of 2019 and I came back in December. I've built a nuke team and now I'm skipping over Darth Revan and Malak and going straight for gas. Is this the wise choice?
It depends what you. If you're just trying to climb back up to the top 50 or the top 20 of Squad Arena, then yeah, because gas is, more than adequate to get you into and keep you in the top 20 of a shard arena. Of a squad arena top 20 shard there, and it'll get you back into the shard chat. But for GAC, you still kind of need a Darth Revan and a Malak, especially in those higher divisions, because having a gas, it's only one team on defense or offense, and as we know, you can split Darth Revan and Malak in GAC, and you can use Malak for a solo offense and still put Darth Revan on defense, or use Darth Revan with Bastilla and HK in an offensive team while using your Malak. So Darth Revan and Malak, 2 characters, 2 squads, but they kind of go hand in hand when you're farming for the characters required to get them. Gas is a lot of characters but it does give you a couple of really top notch light side squads, and it gives you some separatist squads. So it depends. Really, it's a judgment call. If you've got the resources to go for gas, because you'll have a really good Padme team, you'll have a decent separatist team, you'll have a decent a couple of decent squads for GAC, and you'll be able to get back into the top 20 of your squad arena. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Depends on what division you're in for GAC and whether you're wanting to really go OTT on GAC, because obviously going for gas will really top heavy your top 40 and your top 80 for the logarithm, and matchmaking. Going for gas, that will really fluff the top half of your roster, whereas going for Darth Revan and Malak doesn't overly fluff the top of your roster. So for GAC, you'll still get you'll still get matched with slightly easier rosters to beat. So I could, if he's in chat, how far along are you? Put it in, and tell me how far along you are with your farming on both sides, and I'll give you a little bit more specific advice.
There you go. So, yeah, well, now let's jump into the fun questions as we start wrapping it up for this session of Jedi Academy. So, first fun question from Bale Reed Papichulo. If the Eternal Twins were a bubblegum flavor, what flavor would they be? Ranger?
Ass and gasoline, which is what I'm going to be throwing on Revenator here in a few minutes when he pops in.
But it wasn't Revenator that asked.
But you already know my rule. What's the rule, Finn?
Poor
If anybody
Revenator.
says anything about Eternal Twins,
We're gonna have a free Revenator shirt. I mean, it's just
you can have it as much as you want. It's not a democracy; it's a rangeocracy, and I'm in charge. And yeah, I'm just gonna take it all out on Revenator. So keep it up, Ilrid. You must really not like Revenator for that to happen, since you know that's the rule, right, buddy? Buddy's like, I don't even care.
Question for everyone. We'll go around the corner, starting with Warrior. Question from Apropos Woolen. As it is Pie Day, what is everyone's favorite kind of pie?
Oh,
Warrior?
The cake kind. Because I'm a cake guy. I'm not a pie guy. No, if I had to pick a pie, if I had to do pie, I'd probably do like a peach pie. Peach pie is delicious. Apple pie is delicious. Peach or apple, probably.
Okay. Mandalore? Favorite pie?
I'm Jewish and we don't eat pie. We eat cake, like Warrior said.
Wait, what?
there you go.
Wait,
Yeah.
whoa. You're Jewish, so you don't eat pie?
Yeah, Jews don't really eat pies, man. That's like a wasp thing. And then I guess a Finn thing.
I eat anything. I like cake too.
Yeah.
God, I can't. Okay, Nev, what about yours?
Warm apple pie.
Ranger?
Chocolate silk.
There you go. And mine was cherry pie. All right. Next question. Warrior. Question to you from Grande Verga. How many banisters does Warrior have?
Yeah, he knows. He probably saw that post on Twitter. Yeah, I don't have any banisters in my home, so I'm in trouble because I need at least one if I'm going to follow that step number 4 or step number 6.
You happy?
You got to follow me on Twitter to know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question. Yeah, so all you guys go out and look at Warrior's his Twitter feed. Is it the last one or like from...
It's from this morning, and it's terrifying because the poor guy's face is following suit on the banister.
Oh, I know. I saw that picture. Friggin' yeah. I just couldn't remember if that was I know you. Yeah. Ugh. Just.
I think they should have called that solution number 2.
The smile was the creepiest part. That's why I had to close it. Like the smile on the face. Okay. Just all right. Next.
Follow me on Twitter.
Next question. Revenator, will Julie Andrews sing She's My Cherry Pie in honor of Pie Day? No, she's not here. Charson 1972 question. Will Lady Adastra finally turn to the dark side if Mace doesn't get a rework in April? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she's used to it by now. The constant disappointment of Mace is just. What else 73? I'm sorry. Will Grande Mandy Moore be doing autographs later, and will Warrior?
No.
How will you be signing it, Mandy Moore?
No.
You are like Grande in that you do have a lot of nicknames now.
Yeah. Thanks, Ouchie. I blame Ouchie.
All right. Let's see. The next question from Martin. Apologize if I say this wrong. Ply Ninja, I think. Yeah, Plieninger. Ply Ninja, I think. Have you seen that SWGOH GG? You can see what gear is missing for Galactic Legends. Yes. It's a nice new addition, actually, to GG. If you guys haven't been there, there is a kind of a gear calculator thing for Galactic Legends where you can see all of the gear that you need in order to get the requirements. It doesn't talk about the relics, just simply the gear that you need to get to Gear 13 for all of the characters. So it is a nice addition.
All right.
Gav Key question: CG moved to a new building. Why not get an extra laptop or two for the new building?
That wasn't part of
They
the
did
budget.
get a second one. If you remember, before one of the Q&As, Crom did mention they got a second laptop.
That's true.
So they are at 2. So 100% improvement since the last time. Now I don't know how many more they're going to get. But yeah. Gav P, is CG's new building an art studio? Did they get the artist free with it? They may have been squatting to artwork for freeboard. Oh my god. Okay, let me just ask you guys, what did you think of the new Rey artwork?
Yeah, it was all right.
Did it look like her? It did not look like Daisy Ridley to me. Didn't look
Remarkably unremarkable.
like Rey.
So it's funny. I'm the guy that like made fun of their like poop emoji that they put over the head of BB-8 because I have bad eyes, and I looked at that little emoji over BB-8's head, and it just looked like a poop emoji. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so and then I was just joking though, but they were like all offended. They were like, "You hurt the guys in the art department's feelings," and I apologized.
Snowflakes.
Like, oh man, I know. I'm like, I didn't mean to like hurt their feelings. I'll edit that out of my video. I wasn't trying to hurt no one's feelings, Like I was still on good terms with them, and I was like, it was just a joke. So whatever. But but I like look at their artwork, and in the past I've been like, oh my god, like the de-evolution of Anakin's face, like what the hell, what happened? But so I've been critical at times of their artwork in the past, but I look at the artwork that they're doing here and that they're bragging about and stuff, and I don't really see it being too bad. Like I know you guys, a lot of people are being critical right now, but like I honestly, I'm like, you know what? Like I know that people are like, oh, it's like PS2 artwork, but I mean, it's a freaking mobile game. Like the artwork can't be that good. It's a freaking mobile game. It's a mobile game. I don't know. I'm like, I think the artwork's okay. I think the artwork's all right for a mobile game. She looks a hell of a lot better than Anakin's de-evolution over the last couple of years. Like when they changed his face, like the meme where they just like cartoon draw his face, like it was really bad. Like,
or how about the Joker Sabine?
So in this situation with her, I would just say, I think they're like looking at like pixelation rates and stuff for phones and like how they're getting, macro versus micro detail. The micro detail versus the macro detail is so much better. I think as an artist rendering it, they can tell, we can't. So they're like, look at this, and we're just like, look at what? Like it's hard for us layman's to know what the hell we're looking at. So that's why they're showing it to us so much and bragging about it so much, because in terms of mobile phones games, it's probably like revolutionary to them because they're excited about it. But I guess for me, it would scare the hell out of me if I'm still playing, because think about the kind of like potential break this is going to cause in the game when they launch her, and all these like crazy animations they're going to be putting into the game with her and him on this existing UI. Like, I'm just afraid this, like, she's going to do some like super twirl and the game's just going to freeze and glitch and
It does that already just going into a store.
I know, that's my point. I'm just worried they're going to overload the whole game with these things. They don't have the framework for it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I normally was on the same side as you there, Warrior, where it's just like, well, they're doing what they can with the artwork. We'll criticize some of the things like Sabine and Anakin and like that makes sense. I think the problem, at least for me right now, is they have made such a focus on the artwork lately. Like when you do a Q&A and there's actually issues going on in the community and you spend like 30% of all of your Q&A is art responses. And you talk when we're trying to figure out improvements of the game, and the biggest improvement that comes out of the Q&A is the fact that they've increased their polygon budget for the way that they can design characters, right? They're telling us that whatever it is, they're focusing on artwork right now. And that's why, at least from my perspective, like I am being overly critical and I understand that, but it's because they're bringing so much more focus to it right now instead of addressing actual things in the game. And it's frustrating.
You know why that is, right?
Well, they're trying to like distract you from everything and keep you.
I'm not trying to be rude. I feel bad that I'm being a negative Nelly. I'm not trying to be rude to everybody. They're not talking about what they're not going to fix. They're not going to, dude, if they were fixing things, they'd be bragging about that, what they were fixing. They're going to talk about what they're doing. They're talking about artwork because that's what they're going to talk about, because that's what they're doing. They're not talking about fixing A, B, and C because they're not fixing A, B, and C. It's just not happening. They're not talking about a new remake because it's not coming. They're not talking about new characters right now because they're still working on it. Like, they're talking about artwork because that's what they can talk about. That's what they have completing, and they're still in progress on that. What you hear is what they've got. So, you know,
which is disappointing. That's yeah.
Talking about it if they had it. They talk about stuff 3 months before they had it. Like, they were talking about Galactic Legends back in September, and Galactic Legends still aren't in the game, technically. So, you know, we're talking about 6 months ago. They were bragging about GL. Like, I was like, ooh, this is amazing. That was 6 months ago. So, if you're not hearing about it now, it's because it doesn't happen. It's not happening. So, they're bragging about art because that's what they have to brag about. That's just what they have right now. That's just, I'm not trying to be negative Nelly. That's just what they have.
So no, you're right. That's the problem.
They're not trying to deflect. That's just what they have. That's what they've got on their plate to talk about.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem is that now that's all that players have to focus on because that's all they keep bringing up. So it's going to get overly critical probably of the artist, and I do feel bad to some extent, but because I like reading like Raging Spaniard's responses and whatnot, but it's just not the right time sometimes for it.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's get these fun questions.
Two more questions. One from Ouchie. Question for Buddy. What do you want on your Amazon wish list?
He doesn't need anything, trust me. If I trip over one more of his toys, I'm going to throw it out the damn house. I stepped on one of his bones yesterday. It did not feel good on a bare foot.
And then last question from Finn to Warrior. Do you still have the mustache?
Yeah, I actually went back to my full beard. It's starting to grow back finally. So I had to grow it all back in. My wife was freaking out. I did the two 80s parties, and so now I got my 80s parties out of the way. I cut my hair back down because it was all like super Ace Ventura-esque. And then I started to grow the beard back. It's starting to come back, so I'm feeling a little better.
The beard.
And there you go. Those are all the questions for this, Jedi.
All right. So do me a favor. We're going to wrap this up, and we're going to go right into my GAC. Invite the panel to hang out and watch the fights while we do it live. We'll do that right after the Jedi Academy. But do me a favor, folks. First of all, give us a thumbs up if you haven't already before you head on out. It helps with the algorithm and getting our content out there. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We're trying to push for 5K subs, and we'll take it one sub at a time. So if you like the content and the stuff we're doing over here, then please hit the subscribe button. It really does make a big difference, and that way you can get the notifications of when we're streaming so you can know all the other fun stuff that we're doing. And do me another favor, guys. check out these other great channels. I'm going to let them pimp their stuff here real quick, but check out their stuff, check out their videos, you know, just give them a thumbs up, do all that stuff, and really show their support. They're here on a Saturday morning. They could be doing other things, but they're here answering your questions about the game, so show them some love as well. And let's let them tell us where it's all at. Nev, where can folks check you out at, my friend?
Folks can check me out on the Escape Pod cast.
Yeah.
We're pushing for 1K at the moment. Loads of stuff being given up. Me and another listener will be chopping all of our hair off and donating it to the Little Princess Foundation.
Very nice.
There's $50 from another content creator. Just $50. Just going to somebody. A load of people are going to do some fun Gear 13ing of characters like Ewoks and Jawas and stuff like that. So, yeah, find us. Come over to our Discord, the Escape Podcast, and subscribe to us. Like I said, we're trying to push for 1,000 so that we can do all of this stuff live on YouTube, like getting my hair cut.
All right.
So, yeah, find us there.
There it is. All right. Where can folks still check you out at, my friend?
You can still check me out on, of course, YouTube. We discussed a bunch of cool things today. We talked about Potency. I have a Potency video. We talked about Days. I have a Days video. We talked about modding. I have multiple mod videos and what to expect on what's a good secondary percentage or flat. So go check those videos out. Those videos are timeless. Those are never going to change. Those are static in the game. So go check those out. And then you can always follow me if you're interested in just silly, corny, funny things on Twitter. I post every day on Twitter and also on other social media outlets such as Instagram. So check those things out, and I'll check you guys later.
All right. And then Mr. Mandalorian Mandy Moore, where can folks check you out at, my friend?
Mandalore with the umlaut over the O, Maw1 on YouTube. You could just search Mandalore Maw. I'll pop up.
It's in the description too.
Yeah,
it is
all these are in the
description.
as well,
Thank you, Finn. If you like lots of expletives and cursing while watching YouTube, come on over.
Besides RSG, check out all right, so thank you, panel, for being here today. We're going to go immediately into give me about 3-4 minutes, possibly 5, to flip over, create the event, and we're going to go right into GAC. It's time to make the clan for Cabber. We have to maintain our Cabberness. So we're going to go right to GAC and get to the facts. Got some good facts lined up for you guys today. So if you want to check that out, just stay here on this channel. Get ready for the event coming up, and then we'll get ready to rock and roll. And invite any of the panel that wants to hang out and watch the fights and give their input. They're more than welcome. All right, with that, we're done with the Jedi Academy. We will check you guys out next Saturday, or we'll check you out whenever you are watching any of our content. So with that, we're going to flip over to some GAC. Have a great rest of your weekend. Wash your hands. Be safe out there, folks. Limit your contact with other people. Let's work together and get this coronavirus, let's kick it right in the ass and get it out of here so we can move on to our regular lives again. So be safe, and we will holler at you later, folks. Peace out.
On the other hand, I'm having